It's a strange time for Windows Phone. Sales have slumped, market share has dwindled, and new devices seem really few and far between. Even Microsoft themselves have started winding down the sales of Lumia. So who do you turn to when you're looking for your Windows Phone fix? Well, it seems the company NuAns has the answer for you. I'm Tom from OS Power User, and today we're looking at the NuAns NEO, a Windows 10 phone, but unlike one you've seen before. The first thing that will stand out to you about the NuAns NEO is the way the phone deals with customization. It's really interesting, and it's not just about the look and feel, it actually makes the device whole. So the phone comes as a core. In the box you effectively get the bare bones of the device, and when you've got it in your hands it's like looking at a regular phone with the back off. You then add the cases to the back, which in turn makes up the rest of the Neo. And oh my, have they spoiled you for choice here. The cases come in two forms, either a two-tone selection, which is made up of a top and a bottom, or a full flip cover, which covers the phone from front to back. Let's focus on the two-tone covers for a bit. To say they're well designed would be an understatement. These things are gorgeous. NuAns are showing their real muscle and passion is located in these things. Each one has a real sense of considered care and personal touch. The colour choices range from green military-esque khaki to a smooth suede and everything in between. You can really make this thing your own with the sheer amount of choice NuAns gives you. Personally, I've fallen for a darker wood and a smooth black to top it. The flip covers have the same amount of due care with them as well. They clip to the back of the phone like the two-tone covers, but encase the entire device, turning it into a more of a wallet style of case. There's also a magnet embedded within which turns the screen on or off depending on whether you open or close the wallet. And as a cherry on top, the case also folds out to become a makeshift kickstand for the phone as well. Again, these things look great and they're really smart, and actually folded up you'd have a hard time telling there's even a phone in there. Once you've got your choice of case sorted, you'll find the phone is a little chunkier than you're used to, kind of similar to the Lumia 920. However, there's a good reason for that. The first of all is a big 3350 mAh battery, which is always a welcome sight to see, but also NuAns' idea behind the phone. You're not supposed to have a case on this device. NuAns have noticed that while so many people enjoy having a slim and metallic phone, it's actually very rarely seen, and that's because people usually throw some form of case on them, which almost eliminates the point of having one of these super slim nice phones at all. So the Neo is designed to have that built in as such, making the case part of the actual device. It's a bold and interesting choice for a phone manufacturer to make, but with the range of cases on offer I can actually see the attraction in that. NuAns has also made the right choice of having a microSD card slot located in the back, and there's also an interesting space for an NFC enabled card. It looks like NuAns does provide one, but I think it's designed to hold whatever card you like. I can imagine popping in an Oyster card here and using it around London with no issue at all. USB-C also makes an appearance in the Neo, and the inclusion of fast charging is another welcome sight. In terms of the screen, I'll be blunt with you. The screen on the NuAns NEO doesn't impress. It's a 720p panel, and while viewing angles and colours are just fine, it's hard to digest that a company's flagship device is running on this resolution in the tail end of 2016. Pixels are visible on the screen at all times, and in this age of Quad HD pixel peeping monsters, to not even see Full HD on a $399 phone is somewhat staggering. Now, I could forgive the resolution of the screen if it was super bright or super responsive, or if the device was overall cheaper, but it's simply not. I found myself having the screen at 100% brightness all the time, regardless of the light level. The second you take this phone outside, even on a classically British, overcast but light day, you can forget even trying to view the screen. This makes it even worse if you're trying to take a photo on a bright day, which often just turns into a case of hoping for the best while holding your phone in the right direction. Software wise, we're running Windows 10 Mobile of course, which has seen a few good updates recently. Facebook, Twitter and Instagram have all seen decent upgrades as of late, despite some of them being iOS ports. The whole experience has been made better thanks to the recent anniversary update as well, which will hit the Neo soon. However, the most interesting part about the software is the fact that it supports Continuum, thanks to the Snapdragon 617 chip and the 2GB of RAM powering the Neo. And while Continuum hasn't seen any huge updates since it was released, it's gained a few new apps that work really well with the system alongside the Microsoft Office apps. The official Twitter app is a good example of this. Pushing over to the camera now, and the Neo is equipped with a 13 megapixel sensor. Now, a 13 megapixel sensor can mean so many things in today's smartphone world. They're everywhere and they seem to vary from being outright spectacular to downright depressing. Unfortunately, the Neo leans towards that lower range. Photos produced are noisy, flat and generally unpleasant to look at. They can sometimes look okay on the surface, but a small zoom will reveal the muddiness that this camera does produce. Engaging HDR can sometimes help for a much better photo if you're prepared to deal with the noise that accompanies it. However, it seems the camera has a tendency to underexpose for a lot of the shots unless you're in total optimal lighting. Another frustration is that the viewfinder frame rate can't seem to keep up with the camera. There are plenty of occasions where the screen would stutter while moving the camera around. Focus time was also disappointing. The Neo hunted quite a lot before taking snaps, even when tapping to focus. All that aside, it's not to say it can't take nice photos, because occasionally it will take something that's more than good enough for a social media share, keeping colours fairly neutral and details quite well. It just doesn't happen overly often. On the plus side, the battery life on the Neo has been really good. I've been able to get through a full day with no issues, usually ending the day between 15 and 20%. I must admit I expected a little better than that considering the screen resolution and brightness output. However, the rapid charging also lives up to the hype, getting in a huge 70 to 80% of charge within an hour, so it's really easy to juice up if you do have a heavy day's worth of use.
So you may be wondering who this phone's for, who's it aimed at and how does it compete with other phones in the market? Well, you're not alone in that thought, so let's take a closer look now.
Well, the Neo isn't exactly aimed at trying to convince people to switch from iOS or Android to Windows 10 Mobile. If you're considering this phone, then you've probably already made that decision. However, the phone does position itself in its own slice of the Windows Phone market. If you're looking for a highly customizable device that runs Windows 10 Mobile with Continuum support, your choice is actually very slim, so this phone stands as a real contender. There's also the argument that the Neo is aimed at business people who want an entire solution for themselves or from their employees' devices. A huge amount of businesses will be running on Windows 10, so having employees' phones run Windows 10 Mobile makes a lot of sense. It also gives them more control over their phone as a whole, even incorporating company-specific apps. The Continuum support also speaks for itself in terms of business too. Having Office documents available at all times for editing, regardless of what screen you have access to, makes a lot of sense. So to round off, I think the Neo is a really thoughtful device. The cases and personalisation options really give it an edge in the Windows Phone market. Sure, it may be a little overpriced for its specs, and it might have its troubles, but there's really not another phone like it, and to say that in 2016 is really surprising, and for that reason alone I think it's to be commended. We'll keep all the relevant links below, so if you're interested in the device, make sure you sling yourselves over there and take a peek. I've been Tom from MayorsPowerUsers.com. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and do remember to check the website for more news on everything Microsoft.